all and welcome to a new video. Now in today's video I'll be teaching you the basics of programming. So that's it's going to be a good lesson in the new series that I'll be making about specifically programming. Now just to learn the basics, I will actually be teaching you guys through this actual compiler or language. It's called processing, which is the compiler that we'll be using, but this is based off Java. Now, if you are scared of programming Java or anything like that, please don't be frightened. If you're here because you want to learn how to program another language like C++, C Sharp, or anything else, maybe you want to learn Visual Basic, there are other languages that I do know how to program in, and I would be more than happy to teach you guys how to program in those if I get enough people requesting it. But the fundamentals are exactly the same. So what I'll be teaching you is I'll be teaching you the basics and the fundamentals in this series, and with those you'll actually be able to take them with you to other languages. And once you actually learn one language really well, you will actually notice that other languages come pretty easy as well. So you can pretty much pick up another language very easily. You just need to learn the syntax, which may be slightly different. For example, some languages use curly brackets, some don't. That's pretty much it. Some of them are event driven, and some of them are just normal languages that go from top to bottom. Now, so in today's video, we will be looking into the basics of programming with the processing application, and as I did say, this is based off Java. So what processing does is it does all the hard stuff for you, and you only program the easy stuff like the loop and what actually gets executed, not the other background stuff that's working. So you don't have to worry about making the form or anything like that. Processing does that all for you, and it makes it nice and easy to start off with. So you can take this, and then if you do actually know Java, you can use the fundamentals from this to help you with programming Java and creating forms and stuff like that. But that will be for another video. We won't be going into that deep. So in today's video, we're just going to be looking into downloading processing, setting it up, and some of the basics. So you can go to their website, which is processing.org. I'll have a link in the description, or you can just go to Google and type in processing. It's that simple, and then click on the website. And once you're here, you can see in the top left, just click download. And this is good, so it actually downloads as a zip file. So pick the version of whatever operating system you're running on, whether it's Mac, Linux, or Windows. I'm using a 64-bit version of Windows, so I'll download that one. And you can see it's just loading now, and it's downloaded a zip file. So it only takes about 20 seconds. It's not too big. If you really like the program, you can donate to them because it is a free program, and donations do help fund improvements in future development and stuff like that. So that's up to you. I'm not being paid to say anything, or they're not sponsoring me. I'm just choosing to tell you because it's in front of me. So anyways, once that's done, you want to open up the zip file. Now, you may or may not have WinRAR installed. Regardless of if you do or you don't, it's a zip file, so the Windows zip program should be able to do it for you. So you want to get the processing folder, and you want to put it somewhere that's where you can actually access it easily. You might want to save it into your C programs folder. You can do that as well. For this video, I'm just going to make a folder on my desktop called tutorial. So tutorial, and I'll bring that over here so you can see. So this will be my desktop. And as you can see, this PC desktop tutorial, I'm just going to click and drag it into there. So like I said, WinRAR is just extracting it, and there's a folder, so we can close the WinRAR or whatever zip tool you use. You can open it up, and in here you have an exe file. You can attach that to your start menu if you want, or you can just leave it in the folder. You can make a desktop icon. That is up to you. So what I'll do is I'll now go and open that up, and you'll see processing will launch on the main screen now. It takes a minute to load, but this is what you're greeted with. So once you've got that all set up and ready to go, I'll just say pause the video now if you're not ready, and we'll continue from here if you are. So just when we're starting off, I'm going to show you a little bit about the program and how it works. So you can do Java, you can add other languages if you want. As you can see, you got Android mode, Python, and a few other things. But we're not going to be worrying about that for now. We're going to be programming and specifically looking into Java. So Java's not too bad to learn on either. It's all right. Anyways, so just to start off, we'll run the program. So you can see this is all that pops up. It's just a little box. You might be thinking to yourself, "Cool, what's that?" Well, that's pretty much what I was telling you. It makes the form for you, and it's that simple. So it'll make your life a little bit easier. Now let's say that we want to draw something on the screen. So this program actually really easy to draw shapes and stuff like that. So let's draw an ellipse. So first what we'll do is we'll start off by adjusting the size of the screen. So no, is it? Yeah, I think it is. Yep, it's size. Sorry, my apologies. I made a bit of a mistake there. I was thinking of something else. So now if you run the program again, you'll see that the window is a little bit bigger, and it's all grey in the background. So yeah, you don't want it to be grey. Let's just change the color. So we'll do something simple and change the color. To change the color, you can type background, and then again you want the brackets, and then we'll put this symbol at the end. Now let's fill in the brackets. So I missed a D. So anyways, in the brackets you need to, you can put a few different things in there. So you can put a single integer, and we'll go more into what an integer is in a little bit. Or you can put in 3 integers which represent red, green and blue. Or you can also put in a hexadecimal value. So if you don't know what those are, that's okay. We'll just do it plain and simple for now. So if you put 0 in here, it'll make the screen black. Or if you put 255, it'll make the screen white. And let me show you what I mean. So 255 is white. If you don't believe me, 0 is black. And there you go. So for today's tutorial purpose, I'm going to make it white. Okay, so you know that that's going to now make a size of 400 by 400, which is a square, and it's going to make a background, and it's going to make the color white, which is 255. Now, what we can do is we can draw a simple shape. So I'm going to show you now to draw a circle. So that would be using the function ellipse, like so. And again, put the 2 brackets around it like that, and that at the end. Always make sure you have this at the end, because if you don't, your code will not function correctly. And you can see it's got a squiggly line at the moment. That's because I haven't filled it in. So if you look down here, this is actually to help you out with if you're having any issues. So when the squiggly line comes up, it's pretty much telling me that, okay, there's something wrong with this line here. So line number 4. This is what's written, but it expects something like this. So it wants ellipse and then 4 float values. Now, what a float is it's a real number. So a float could be anything like 1 or 2 or 10, 50. They're all floats. Now also a float is like, think of it like a decimal number. So it can be 51.5 if you really wanted it to be. Now another thing to note is pretty much everything is measured in pixels with processing. So make sure that whatever you're working with, you remember that you're working with pixels. So with that being said, we can put any real number into this value here. So to make it nice and simple, what I'll do is I'll put 20, 20, 20, 20. Nice and simple. And I'll explain to you what it does in a second. So what we'll do is we'll draw it now. And you can see it drew it here. So to make it a little bit more visible for you, what I'll do is I'll make the fill, let's make it green. So that'll be 0, 255, 0. And the reason why it is like that is because 0 is the value for red here. And then the 255 is the value for green, and then the 0 here is the value for blue. So if we're doing 0 for blue and 0 for red, but we're doing 255 for green, the value should be green. So if I run it again, you'll see the circle comes up green. So now you're thinking, okay, Why is it so small, and why is it in the top left corner? Okay, so the reason why it's small is because we made the diameter 20 by 20. So technically the diameter will be 40, the radius is 20, okay? If you want to change that, what we can do is we come here. So let's make the radius 100 by 100. Okay, so now you'll notice it's a lot bigger and it's off the screen. Now, to get it back on the screen, you're probably gonna be wondering again, how do we get it back on the screen? So because we've set this to 400 by 400, we know that the middle of the screen would be pretty much half of that and half of that, right? So what we'll do is we'll change this to 200 by 200. So this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. So think of it like this. When you're drawing it, this will come over and it'll count to 200, which is in the middle, and then it'll go counting down and it'll hit the middle, which is 200 again. So it'll go like this pretty much. What you'll see is the circle will be drawn in the middle, in the exact middle right now. And that's because it's counted 200 over and it's counted 200 down. So I'll play it now and you'll see the circle's drawn in the middle. Now, just to confirm that for you, let's make this something like 100, and you'll notice that it won't be as far in the middle. So this is the height. And you're probably thinking, why is the height going down like that? Well, that's a good question. So with the height, you need to remember this as well. It's measured by width going towards the right, from the left to the right of the screen, okay? So when we're counting 200, that'll be counting like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until it hits 200, which is in the middle of the screen to the right. Now, when we're counting the y-axis, it's actually going down. So this is 0 up the top here, and then it's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until it gets to 100, right? And 100 would be in this quarter of the screen. So imagine some imaginary lines. You got one every 100 pixels. One will be here, one will be in the middle, one will be here, and then you got the other one at the end, which is the border, which is the 400th pixel. Okay, so just to show you again, if we make this 300, it'll be drawn in the bottom quarter, as you can see. Okay, so for today's tutorial, we're just going to leave it in the middle for now, and we'll put it there like that. So far you should know how to place your object, and you should also know pretty much how to change the size of it. So with the ellipse function as well, you might be wondering why you need to put the radius in there twice. So ellipse is actually designed to draw like an oval, even though it's called an ellipse. So if we wanted to change this, let's say we wanted to make it 300, and if we do it, you'll see that it makes an oval. Okay, so the reason why we put the radius in there twice is to make sure that it stays as a circle, and it has to be the same for it to be a circle. Otherwise, it'll draw an oval like you saw just then. Okay, and that's basically how to draw an object. There's other objects like a rectangle. So let's say we want to draw a rectangle. Now, the rectangle is a little bit different, but it's quite similar. So what the rectangle will do is it'll draw. It'll draw from the top left, which is where 0 is, to the bottom right. So, and I'll explain it to you now. So let's do it like this. So again, it's asking for 4 float values. So the first 2 values are always going to be the x and the y axis. So let's say we're going to do it the same. We'll make it 200, 200, Now, that's the x-axis and the y-axis. So it will be drawing from the middle. And then we're going to make the size something like, let's make it 150, 350. Okay? Actually, that's a bit big. Let's make it 250. Might not fit in the form if we make it too big. As you can see there, it's off the screen. So I'll just take it back a little bit and I'll make it 200. And it's still off the screen. Okay, we'll make it 150. So we'll make it 150 by 150. It'll be a square. Okay, and the reason why it's drawing like that is because, like I said, it draws from the top left of the rectangle, or in this case, it's a square because we did the same as a circle. We made the values the same. So that can actually be changed. You can make it draw from the middle like it does with the circle, because I'm sure you've noticed that the circle drew in the middle of the axes that you set. So that was 200 and 200 as well. Whereas the rectangle drew in the top from the top left at the axes that you chose. So we can do something like that, and it's called Rect Mode. Okay, so Rect Mode just chooses the mode for the rectangle. So you can put in center like so. Um, Hold on. This is another good function. You can use the find in reference. So if you've got a command that you don't know what it does, you can just highlight it, right click it, and go find in reference. So this will give you a little bit of information on the item. Now that's why it wasn't working, sorry. This is for the rect mode function. Now the reason why mine wasn't working is because I didn't capitalize this, and I'm sorry. You need to capitalize if they're two words, so like rect mode, their mode is going to have to be capitalized. So we'll do center, which you can see it should be over here. You've got rect mode, corners, corner, or center. So it looks like they want it to be capitalized as well there. So we'll just put it in capital, paste it, and you can see the squiggly line goes away. So now if we draw it again, you can see that it's drawn in the middle over the circle. And that's why you can't see the circle. So the way that this program works is it'll draw the circle first, and then it'll draw the rectangle. So because the circle was drawn first and the rectangle is being drawn in the same spot, it'll actually draw over the circle. So you won't be able to see the circle. Let's say we made this smaller, like we made it 50 by 50. This will show you what I'm saying. So if we make it smaller, you can see that the square got drawn inside of the circle. If you have a closer look there. So yes, that's the reason why that happens there. Now, let's say that I think that's pretty much the basics of how to use this particular um, functions and stuff like that to draw shapes. There's other shapes as well that you can use to make, such as there's actually is one for square. If you want to have a look, so you can put square in there, and as you can see, it wants float, float, float. So it only wants three values. So if we were to do like this, 50, 200, 250, so like that, sorry, 200, 250, it'll do the same thing as drawing a rect. Now I'm going to just delete that so that you can see that that's not in there anymore, and we'll run it again, and you can see that it'll do the same thing. It's drawn a square in the middle. But yeah, that's just to show you that you can draw a square. There's actually one for circle as well, which is the same principle, but we won't go into that one. There's also other shapes. So if you look through the references that they've got, you've got rect, you've got there's ellipse, and let's see what other shapes they have. I think there's arcs and triangles as well. It's a bit slow. All right, triangle. And as you can see, it wants float, 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 float. So remember, the first ones are the x and the y-axis, and I'm not too sure what the rest of them are. Let's have a look. So we can go find in reference, and it'll pretty much tell us what all the values are for. So the first one will be the x coordinate, then the y coordinate. Oh, and that would be the x coordinate of the second point, y coordinate of the second point, and x of the third and y of the third. So that's so you can draw from point to point to point. So let's say we wanted to draw. So we'll do an equilateral, or we'll try and do a triangle. So let's say we wanted to make the point in the top middle. So what we'll do is we know that the middle will be 200. So we're going to make the x-axis 200 to bring it into the middle. and we'll make the y-axis, let's say we'll do 20. Okay, and then the next one we'll do down towards the bottom left. So let's say we'll do the x-axis at 20, and we'll make the y-axis to be 350. Okay, so this will draw it from just around here down to the bottom left, and then we'll do the same. Sorry, that'll draw it to the bottom left if you do 50, and we'll do 20, and this time we'll do 350 because it'll draw to the right now. So you'll see it should be, well, I guess that was a bit unexpected. I didn't draw it down far enough. That was 350. That was a mistake on my half. This should have been 250, or we could do. Sorry, let's do to make it look a little bit better. We'll do 380. Okay, 380. So make sure yours is like that as well now. And if we draw it, it should be a triangle. There you go. Sorry, I made a little mistake there. Happens to the best of us. And that's pretty much drawing shapes. So look, if we wanted to bring it in a bit, we can make it 300. We'll make it a little bit tighter. We'll make that one there 100, and that'll make the triangle more pointy. So as you can see, it's more pointy. So think of it like this. When you've got your triangle here, this one here is your x-axis for the first coordinate. This one here is your y-axis, sorry, for the first coordinate. This one here will be your x-axis for the second coordinate. This one here will be your y-axis for the second coordinate, and followed by your x-axis for the third coordinate and the y-axis for the third coordinate. And that's probably the easiest way to look at it. So if you're drawing a triangle, think of it like that. And it's similar for other shapes. So for most shapes, the first two are the x and y axis, and this will be the size, as you saw with the rest of it. So I will just comment that all out again, just to bring it back to you, and we'll show you one more time. You've got the, you've got the circle here, and that'll be just a circle. Now, if we want to move the circle over a little bit, this will be the x-axis. So let's say we want to move it to the right, we can make it 300, and it'll move to the right a bit. There it is. And let's say we want to show our square or our rectangle that we've made into a square. Let's put that at 100, and it'll pop up on the left. A little bit small. We can make it bigger. So if you want it to be the same size as the ball or as the circle that we've built, we can make it 100 by 100. And remember, it'll draw from the top left unless we've got the Rect Mode enabled. So if I make it the Rect Mode center, it will draw from the center. So now it'll draw pretty much the same as the circle. And let's say we wanted to bring our square in, and we want it to show up on the bottom. What I'll do is I will wait a moment for you to try and figure it out if you're following along, and try and put in what you think you would need to put in there to make it draw onto the bottom, just underneath. So let's say I want it to pop up just underneath, so that it's under the X, it's under the rectangle and it's under the circle, but it doesn't go onto like the same level. Okay, so I'll let you do that. Don't look at the screen if you're doing that now, because I'm just going to go ahead and change the values on the screen while you're doing that. Okay, so now that you guys have had a little bit of time, I've gone ahead and changed the values on the screen, so I will play it now. And as you can see, that square pops up down the bottom as well. Now again, it's small because we made it 50, so in order to make it a little bit bigger, we will make it 100. And there it is, so it pops up just underneath the other square or rectangle and underneath the circle. And if that was a square, it would be like a checkered box that'd be sort of touching on the tip. And now for the last one, let's put the triangle up the top up here, just to make like a triangle. So Again, I'll let you guys do that. Turn away from the screen or put your program in front of the screen so that you can't see what I'm doing. And when you're done, we can go ahead and we can see if you got it the same as me. So remember, I'll give you a quick hint. You have to change all of the points so they're all XY, XY, XY. So you have to make those quite accurate, and then sort of work it out in calculator how much it'll be. If you don't get this right, that's all right. This is a little bit of a hard one. It's a little bit of a trick. So if you don't want to follow along, just watch as I go and change it, and then you'll see how I've gone ahead and done it. So I'll go ahead and do that now. All right, so I've just gone ahead and changed that on my screen now, and we'll go ahead and run the code, and you should see it should make a pointy triangle. It is a little bit in the middle. I think I made it a little bit too big. So if you had something like this happen to you, that's because we put it down a little bit too fast. So in order to change that, we'll have to lift it up a bit. So the x-axis and the y-axis, instead of making it 200, if that's what you may have done and had the same mistake as me, you have to actually make it 150. So if we make it 150, it should definitely be in the right zone. And as you can see, there it is. So it makes a nice hat for your drawing. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the first introduction to the video, and I'd like you to try and practice a little bit with drawing shapes, and try and actually draw a picture with the shapes and how I've shown you how to draw them, and see if you can come back and actually make a nice picture. I would be happy for you guys to post some of the actual photos of what you come up with in the onto like a image hosting website like Imgur. So that's IMGUR, like so, and post it onto here. You can make it public or private, whatever you want to do. It's pretty simple. You just make a new post and make a new post, and you drag and drop your image there, and then it'll ask you to share the link. So, for example, I'll quickly make a snip of the image that we've just made here, and I'll show you how you do it. So you can do a snip like so, and you can do is you can go copy, and if you come here, you can go control, you can go control V, and there you go. It's pretty much pasted it and uploaded it. That's how quick it is. And to copy the link for me, what you will need to do is you need to go up into here, and you go get share links. So you want to see this one here would be a good one to use, the BB code, and just so you can see what it is, copy it like this, but only the image part. So don't copy the brackets and stuff. Okay, fine. We'll use this one here. This one's alright. It'll just show you their stuff on it. So you send it to me like this, and I'd be happy to look at it, and I'd like to pick a winner for a competition. So if you guys can send it in, I might give you about a month's time from when the video is released to send in your sketches, and one of the best ones or the most creative ones will actually win, and I'll give you a shout out in the video, and I will actually show your sketch. So I'm really interested to see what you guys come up with. Try and make it with either the shapes that we've done here, or some more complex shapes that you've found through the processing website. So like I said, you can go through there and you can find lots of different shapes and stuff like that, and try and make something really creative. I'd love to see what you guys make, and I would love to continue with this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please stay tuned for the next video. I'll be teaching a little bit about variables and stuff like that, so that we can take that a little bit further for our next project. Alright, thank you guys, and have a nice day. Peace.